OSD, Obsessive Sneaker Disorder. We are back. And if you haven't caught the previous 5 episodes, it is time for you to catch up.
Yeah, go
We have
get
been having a whole lot of fun on this return, but today we are giving it to you as requested by a lot of you, living room style. No guests, just the crew kicking it, literally, pun intended, telling you
it.
exactly how we feel about the state of what's going on in the sneaker industry and sneaker culture. Unfiltered, real, and raw. Soul brother number one, the rational one, the one who sits at the table and makes sure everybody has their silverware to eat their food properly. D Wells in the house.
Yeah,
What's up, D?
man, it's good to see you. Good to see Dr. Ridiculous in the building, and certainly great to be here. Man, there's so much to talk about. I don't know if it's Young and the Restless or As the World Turns these days, but nonetheless,
Days of our lives for sure.
days of our lives. I
It
like
is
that
all
one.
three. It's all three, Coach
Exactly.
Ridiculous. Coach
Yes, it
Ridiculous,
is.
what's going on,
What's
family?
up? What's up? Good to be back with the fellas. We have been having a lot of fun, but I've been looking forward to this one because I just like chopping it up with my crew, letting the world see
Yep.
what we talk about, keeping it raw and real like we do.
We need for everybody to do us one thing, right? We need people to like and subscribe because, yes, we are in the YouTube generation and feel the play with these podcast episodes. Um, a lot of y'all have been showing love on the shorts
Yep.
and watching where you can. We're trying to keep the episodes within the range of what you can bear based on the modern day attention span, everybody. We promise you we are. But as you can see, the episodes are averaging an hour 10 and change because there's just so much information in them that we feel people should have and you need to digest with regard to the business and culture that we love so much. So please bear with us. Watch, share, comment, subscribe, and we're going to continue to give you more of what you asked for, to quote my man Will Strickland. Shout out to Will Strickland in the Open Rem podcast. He always opens up, he goes, giving you more of what you asked for. So we're doing that today, right? And let's just talk about the elephant in the room that's going crazy all over the internet right now, right? Everybody's got their take on it. And that is that dirty little T word,
Ugh,
Mm.
tariffs.
ugh.
Tariffs.
It's
We
terrible.
did it.
It's
We
terrible.
did we did a tariffs episode with Matt Priest from the FDRA. Shout out to Matt Priest and the entire FDRA, the Footwear Distributors and Retail Association down in DC, who have been doing some amazing work all over the media, all over our emails and socials, making sure people understand the impact of what's going on. Well, let's talk about it today from the street perspective, from the we like shoes, we buy electronics, and all of these things. Let's talk about it from that perspective. Coach, talk to us first and foremost. What you
Man,
seeing out here? What you doing?
you know, immediately you see supply chain issues. See, a lot of people jump straight to the product and the tax and the tariff and all that. But a
Hmm.
lot of the cost in those tariffs is raw materials being shipped also have that tariff on them. And so as they're crossing borders, they're picking up costs, little bits of cost all along the way. So if your
Hmm.
bag is made of real leather, bam, that's gonna get hit. The rubber and the raw materials that have to get sent to the Chinese factory to make your boost, to make your P-backs, to make your materials and your carbon fiber plates, boom, that has a tariff. Now, those tariffs have all been negotiated and they're pretty steady. It's that final end tariff that our current leadership is putting on things, making everything skyrocket because it upset the balance.
Hmm.
And
So,
so
what are
that's
you
really
experiencing?
that.
Have you made any purchases since this new regime has taken hold, and how have you noticed the difference?
I have. So two different sides of things. I have purchased regular retail goods that we've always done from, whether that's eBay, whether that's Dick's Sporting Goods, box retailers. But I've also purchased some factory direct stuff. And I'm noticing that the factory direct stuff is more affordable. Now, most people don't know a lot about the factory direct stuff, and we can get into that a little bit later. But the factory direct stuff is direct to consumer. So when you're on Instagram and you see that little ad pop up and it says shop now, and it looks very much like Amazon or something you haven't quite heard before, that's the factory with a storefront sending it directly to you. So that cost is a little bit better because it's not going to a major brand. It's not going through a box retailer. So a lot of those tariffs are hitting in a different way. You're not getting hit with a lot of those right up front.
Yeah.
There's obviously a war going on, right? And I've been saying this for years, right? If we were to ever go to war, like a war, like in the traditional sense with China, China could win without firing a shot. Because all President Xi has to do is just shut down anything leaving his country for a couple of days. And we'd be out here like, what's that new show out? The Last of Us?
Bro. That happened during COVID. We saw it.
We saw it. Yeah, we lived it. We
lived it.
We're on the other side of it.
Just now getting off the boats.
Yep.
So the fact that this aggressive stance has been taken when there's already precedent for how crazy things could get out here, and to still push forward and stand on business with that, regardless of the effects, which the crazy shit is, all right, the market's tanking, right? The reason why I'm not doing a stock report right now for footwear, because overall, every single one of the sneaker companies is taking a beating. So I don't have any good news or any encouraging news to report. Like when we used to traditionally do the stock report, it was about us encouraging people to invest. Right. Now, yes, stocks dropping to an all-time low is a smart play to get people in if you got a Robinhood account or anything else. Right. Catch it on the bottom side. But, without trying to sound too much like, an investor or a broker without really having any kind of experience, I don't feel like we hit the bottom yet.
No,
right?
No.
So
there's a lot to lose yet.
Right. So that usual tone that we take with the voice of encouragement to get people to, quote unquote, as D-Well says, not just be a customer, right? We got to tread lightly on encouraging investment right now.
Yes.
We have to, because as people of color, a lot of folks who listen to and watch us, if they jump in now and this shit goes even further down, then you're like, these fucking guys aren't even.
Right. Y'all told
you know what I'm saying? We don't want to go Holiday Inn. Like, are you a broker? Like, no, but I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We don't want to be that guy.
But I think it brings up a good thing to talk about, where there's a hip hop head here in the Midwest that said it in a song very succinctly. It's like, we make enough, but enough doesn't buy investment. Enough pays the bills day to day.
Yeah.
But we are not in that abundance mindset just yet. And I think that's politically, we won't stray too far in that direction. But that's what we see going on, is when you're playing in those markets on the bottom half and things are dropping and you have the abundance to get a hold of something and then stick through it through maybe another couple drops. That's abundance mindset. We don't want to advise anybody who is making enough to take that risk.
Right. Yeah. So talking about the state of where footwear stock is, we can tell you that, raw and real, because Tariffs got it crazy out here, straight up and down, and we don't even know what the floor is. But I'm gonna pivot a bit. I'm gonna steal a question from D that I know D might be thinking, because you, coach, are the track athlete. When 45 was in office, sneaker prices went up
Yep.
considerably. But we also saw, and this is the part we're really concerned with, sort of if we had to prioritize cost over quality, we saw quality for a lot of shit go down.
Yeah.
There were a lot of crappy sneakers made
Yeah.
over that 4-year regime,
Yes.
right? Jordan retros were trash. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that was trash,
Yeah.
period. Like, honestly. And I'm sure a lot of people would agree with us on that. Even though a lot of folks claim to know what quality footwear is, and not to be snobbish, but a lot of these newbies, they don't know what quality is. They're feeling on stuff talking about, ooh, the leather. And you don't even know what you're feeling on. Stop it, right? You don't even know what real leather sneakers feel like.
Right.
But I ask you this because you are who you are. You do what you do from a technical perspective. The same manufacturing process takes hold. Also, still the same victims of what's happening with tariffs. Do we see the quality going way down when these brands are now trying to penny pinch?
Yeah. Are you asking D?
I'm asking you. I stole the
Oh.
question from D.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Because you guys' footwear is important.
Yeah, like that's exactly the point. I'm glad. Let me jump back then. I am glad you asked that question because we are wearing footwear for substance. We are wearing footwear for performance, not just styling. You know, I can rock a pair of Jordan 1s with some suspect leather, but you know, they look like Jordan 1s, they're put together like Jordan 1s. They hurt your feet no matter what. We gonna be all right. Put an insole in them and we good. Performance footwear, that material is high grade, mostly leading edge high tech with the meshes, the foams, the carbon fiber. You've got green initiatives that are now going away because of what's happening, where they were going glueless, they were going more green glue and adhesives. So yes, it's changing the quality of the footwear leaps and bounds. That's where Nike stock began to drop even before the tariffs and everything, because Nike took a few bad beats on quality.
Yeah.
When it came to performance footwear, they fancied themselves so much of a fashion brand that they forgot to make stuff that actually worked.
Remember Zion Williamson's blowout at Duke?
Boom. Huge blowout.
You're crazy, like in terms of how it happened, right? And
I think that was one of the nails in the coffin for PG's brand.
Yeah.
That was a big moment in time. I mean, talk about front and center, one of the biggest stages, Duke University, Zion Williamson, one of the top recruits. Everyone knew, you know, what he would do at college and possibly at the next level. But that, I mean, and then we saw everyone poking fun at them. I thought the best one was Skechers. I'm not gonna lie. Skechers was like, they're like, we're going straight for the jugular on it.
Yeah.
But,
when you know who you are, you can do that. Skechers ain't never had no doubts about who they were.
Right.
Yeah.
But
meanwhile, behind the scenes, they were working on their own performance basketball line.
Exactly.
Well, and
but
also,
look at when we had Stephen Smith on the show when he talked about the number of pieces that were reduced in making the Pump Fury, right? And like what they did to strip it down to make it lighter, to make it, you know, less material. Obviously, costs were involved. But Paper, one of the things you mentioned before with the question is the fact that a lot of the companies changed production factories and left key places, right? Left Vietnam and went to China. Moved a lot of production to even Dominican Republic, you know, like especially on the fashion side. So brands like Tommy Hilfiger, even Ralph Lauren, a lot of that stuff was being made in the DR, and it's not the same anymore.
I saw a lot of tags switch to Bangladesh.
Sure.
And so the quality is different. You know, when they talk about Italian craftsmanship on the fashion side. Some of it's hyperbole, but it comes from a place of history.
Right.
It comes from a place where craftsmanship was very highly favored. And so when you change to a place for cost, we see that even in our own day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna buy something at Target, or
Versus,
I'm gonna buy something at Kohl's, or I'm gonna buy something at Family Fair, Dollar Store. You're getting a drop in quality for the thing that you can manage it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know what I love doing?
Compromise.
I was in a Walmart yesterday, and I happened to go down the footwear aisle, and I was, of course, where I got to go. I got to look at the sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
And not only was Walmart's private label stuff, first it was the free assembly clothing, which caught my attention with Aldous Hodge, right?
Right.
VIP, Virgin Islands product, father side. But the footwear, the Avia stuff, and we've talked about this.
Yes.
Yeah, I did a post about it. Yeah.
I saw a brown pair of Avia runners. I wish I had snapped a photo of it, but I was moving too fast. But nonetheless, I was like, yo, they're selling these for $24. I think they were $24.98.
$24.98. That's right.
For
the ones I posted.
Runners,
right?
The ones I posted.
Yeah, you did post them. Yeah.
And the quality, I just looked at them. I didn't pick them up, but I was like, yo, I would actually buy that and rock that.
I'm telling you.
I have been in that situation a lot of times. I have been in that situation walking through a Walmart.
Yep.
And again, we look at quality and production. We look at how they've put it together. You know, the fact that if you took this shoe out of Walmart, I'm telling you, that's a legit shoe.
And that was what, $24.98?
$24.98. $24.98. It's got
I got all bougie and I changed the laces.
Yeah. Now, where was that your manufactured paper? Look at the tag. Where was it made?
I'm gonna guess Bangladesh. Indonesia.
Here. Give me a minute. Made in China. All man-made.
Wow.
In China.
Okay, now, if we were to look at that, because we had talked about them, we've been talking about Chinese factory direct brands.
Wow.
If we were to look at the fact that was made in China, that came from the same factory as something else.
Something else.
Something high dollar.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Now, this is what I found interesting. What made me pull the trigger on buying these, right? Was the fact that, this isn't a technical high-level runner like you would suggest, Coach, for your athletes.
Right.
But in terms of where it was and how stylistically it caught people's attention, that's what made me decide to say, fuck it, I got $25 for these. I got time today.
Absolutely.
This line is a little long. Sure.
Wow. It's a good-looking sneaker, man.
It is.
It really is. And again, it ain't gonna win no awards on innovation and technology, but it looks and it has a little bit of there's a little bit of gel foam here, like how Asics uses.
Yep.
There's a few.
Got all the things in the right places.
Yeah, there's a few things on here where I was like, yo, $25, all right.
And I guarantee you, if you're not in the market for the latest, greatest tech, you probably got a foam that's maybe 3 years old in terms of innovation. Mm-hmm. So it's better than most of the old running foams that would have been high dollar anyway.
And wait, I just noticed something, Coach. Let's put this up on screen for viewing. Let's see if we can. It says this footwear uses recycled materials.
Ahead of the curve.
Wow.
Ahead of the curve.
So $24.98 retail. I mean, we would have to just do the reverse math, but let's say at the end of the day, what are you guessing that sneaker cost them to make?
I'd say they're probably getting close to Keystone in it.
Okay.
I guess depending on volume, they probably made that shoe for about $850.
I would give a guess like that. I would say that.
I think that's a great number.
Because if we bump up in materials a little bit, you might get that to $12 to $15. And so I could see them still doing it. Walmart would be they make an order of a few 100,000.
Exactly.
These are in I would say they're less than $10 because these are in every Walmart across the country.
I saw those yesterday, and I saw the orange pair too.
Okay, and then they make it on the back end in volume.
Man,
And this is from Avia. This is from a reputable sneaker brand, which of
Legit
course is in a license. It's in a licensing holding space now. But
and they have all. When you look at, there's no stitching. They got fusing on the eye stay.
Yeah.
That's all modern tech. All of that right there is modern.
And some gel. And some gel impact foam. Some gel impact right here.
I can show you fused uppers on carbon fiber plate runners. That Avia ain't losing too much in tech.
Yeah.
Like we said at the beginning of the show, as the world turns, young and the restless, days of our lives in footwear.
So D.
Yeah.
You got to weigh in on this too, as somebody who's TBF, Team Bigfooter, you're size 14.
Yeah.
Your shoes don't necessarily cost more, but in terms of quality, again, like, how are you feeling about going to buy a new pair of sneakers right now, knowing especially the conversation we just had about quality and brands going to cut quarters to offset the tariff costs?
Right.
I'm not going to be buying, any of these big, kind of sneaker brands for a while. I'm going to buy something like this, which is
99 products.
I'll wear that. You see it over there as well. Like, this is the type of sneaker that, not only because I know the message that the company and the people behind the brand, and this is particularly the icon, which I love how bright it is. I haven't worn these yet. I've worn some of the other ones, but like for someone that does wear a big size shoe, do you feel good? I don't feel good spending 150, 220 or more on a whatever, be it a basketball sneaker, a lifestyle running sneaker, whatever. I rather like, I'm actually tempted now, and I'm going to put it right out here in the show. Between now and our next episode, I'm going to buy some Avias. I'm going to get that brown pair as long as they have my size, and I'll track them down. I'm going to probably buy at least 2 pair, and I'm going to rock them. And I just want to like see how they feel in comparison to, some of the other sneakers that are sitting in the quiver. Because like for $24.98. You don't feel bad, one, wearing them and beating the crap out of them, but more importantly, like, how do they feel? Like, are they worth their money? Are they worth the dollar spent?
Man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna say like my guy Gary Ballard, shouts out, longtime watcher of the show. He was so glad we came back. He would always tell me when we talked about this, let's start with the thing that they are, their shoes.
Their shoes.
Did they go on your foot? Did they stay in one piece? And could you wear them for a few steps? They did the job. Yeah. Everything after that is subjective. If it's a shoe and it's doing its job, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Especially from a reputable brand.
Well, if people don't know, but like when you think of Avia, that's the thing that like you think about where that brand started in the 80s.
Yeah.
Their run through the NBA, through running, through track and field.
The cantilevered outsole was everything, man.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
Spider, like
Spider. Yes.
Remember?
Love it.
The Avia Transport.
Oh man.
I'm telling you, man, these brands have a pedigree and a history that people look at us crazy when we talk about a Walmart shoe, but they don't realize that was it back in the day.
Back in the day. Especially like around 85, 86, man. Like, shoot, you couldn't.
That tech had people's minds blown.
Yeah.
Man. Scottie Pippen was wearing a Avia. Clyde Drexler was wearing a Avia.
Exactly. John Sally. Yep.
I'm telling you, man. Avia.
John Sally. Yep. Yeah. So, D, you highlighted something which is on the extreme though, right now, when we're talking about, okay, for Avia, they got this big deal with Walmart, so their money's taken care of, regardless of whether we buy these joints or not. And their retro line, I have a few pairs of their shoes in their retro line that were made pretty good.
Yep.
And the 880 itself is actually the shoe Virgil Abloh ripped off to create the Louis Vuitton trainer line. He ripped the Avia 880 like straight up, like a Lincoln in Spanish Harlem on a street with no street lights. He ripped that shoe off to create the LV trainer line.
He put the Avia on bricks.
But I say that, and they said, you know what? We're going to put that joint right back out and show them where the inspiration came. We're going to put the original record that he sampled from back out.
Yeah.
But you highlighted the extreme just now. where does our friend Jeff and the folks at 99 Products fit into this equation with how extreme things have become?
I think they have an opportunity to like really step up and jump like front and center and talk about who they are, what they're about, the purpose they serve, education, community building. Their products are made in China in factories, just like the other guys. But the one thing that separates them is they're not afraid to collaborate with key people in the community. I mean, the stuff that they did with educators, back in the day, people who have, not only mobility issues, but problems with their feet. So be it, diabetes and just health issues. I love, what they did in terms of like a wider toe box. The materials are dope. I remember wearing, I swapped the laces, as we all do, it's our thing. We swap laces all the time. Like, they leave, not they leave the door open, but they have an opportunity to really stand head and shoulders above some of the other brands. Like, they are who they are. They're not afraid to talk about that. I love when Jeff and the crew over there just go into like color materials, being able to deconstruct, some of their sneakers and actually resole them, so you keep the life cycle going even longer.
Nice.
That, I mean, come on, like, nice. We're trying to save stuff from landfills, right? So why not be able to take a pair of sneakers that you've worn, be able to unstitch them, and the team actually show you how to have them resold if you take them to a cobbler or somewhere else.
Yeah. And I like what they just recently did. So, shout out to Jeff and the folks over at 99 Products. They recently just came out with a limited sneaker drop for the educators at the Business of Sports High School, which is the school that Gavin graduated. My son Gavin graduated from that school as valedictorian in 2020.
Nice.
So Jeff has always been involved with that school. And they just recently did a limited drop where they showed some of the designs for the shoes that they're going to drop for educators at the Business of Sports High School. So that's like, you're right in terms of like their unique angle for storytelling and stuff like that, being able to specify a particular demographic that goes, underserved, underappreciated, but is still very important to what we're doing out here in society.
Mm-hmm.
Will they not be able to? What'd you say, Steve?
There's just a lot of space for niche markets like that.
Yeah.
Where when the economy takes big turns like this, that's where your Etsy was born from. That's where a lot of your maker spaces begin to grow.
Yeah.
Because it forces people into more niche markets.
But will the niche market footwear and apparel makers suffer more of a challenge to get things produced than the bigger brands? Right?
Factory based? Yeah, perhaps.
Yes.
So, that's where I'm a little concerned is they're doing dope things prior to this regime coming in and turning things upside down on logistics and putting things together from a manufacturing sense. Will they still be able to do things the way that they're doing them right now? Because
being impacted.
Everyone's
getting touched. I mean, it's just like COVID. Everyone's going to get get hit by some shrapnel with these tariffs for sure. Materials, like, ridiculous. Like you said, getting the materials is going to be a little bit harder. Hopefully they, their buys that they're able to make happen well before, like they did some stuff back in January, February versus doing it now in the month of April, because everything's going up. When we see it, even, I mean, come on, we see gas prices and we see grocery prices. We're all spending more money on the stuff that we need, like just basic necessities.
Sure. Yeah. I don't use cash to pay people no more. I pay people in eggs.
Yo, bodegas in New York City.
Hey. It's trading on the street.
You're like,
eggs for cash.
I got
we out here trading furs.
These eggs.
Half a dozen pop.
Yeah. Poppy, come on.
That's
well, yeah, these are things, for folks who are going to watch this episode, leave us some comments. Let us know
Yeah.
if you're an apparel or footwear maker. Let us know what you're thinking in terms of how you feel this is impacting and affecting you. Now, I alluded to it a little bit in the beginning, but there's all over social media, as D hinted. They're showing, like, in China, folks are popping up with this narrative of what's happening with the luxury brands and who's really manufacturing versus the quality and all of that. And I caution people in this way.
Yeah.
When you watch it, it's called a tariff war for a reason, right? It's not just being called like America's raising tariffs on China. It's literally being called a tariff war because the U.S. is firing and China's firing back, right? And they're not just firing back with saying, all right, yours is 125, I was going to be 130. They're literally in news, social media, and like
Everything.
information.
Yeah.
They are fighting this war on that level back at us.
And
so
because the information can now, just like a factory can go factory direct to the consumer, the news can do that too. So that's why they're hopping on social and saying, hey, look what your leaders are doing to you. We don't want to do that to you, but they're making us do that to you. So you might want to handle your business back home so we can keep helping.
Right. But then there's also some of the propaganda coming from the factories that make fakes. That are saying that they're the real manufacturers of the luxury goods.
But they're not.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But let's just think about how many eyes and ears who are not as well versed on the entire process. Like somebody who's doing a really good job right now. Shout out to Saya Dev from Saya Collective, who he's been hard body on social media trying to make sure that as someone who has an independent brand or manufactures in China, like he's no bones about it. Everything made in China with me. But I go over there. I have a relationship with these factories.
Right.
Like he's doing his best to try and decipher the truth from the fiction.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm again, it's a war.
Yeah.
It is a tariff war. And now in the age of social media, the effort to decipher fact from fiction does not matter to a lot of people.
Yeah.
What they know at the moment.
We've already proven that.
Right. Because what people know at the moment is straight up and down. And you speak to this, coach, because again, you buy, you're a creator, you're a sourcer. Speak to this, coach. It does not matter fact from fiction for people who are not in this world and deal with those. All they know is, this shit is going up.
Yep.
It's costing us a lot of money now.
Yep.
So they in their mind,
what they've been told. They are geared, they're wired for that. So you're not getting a deeper dive from the majority of consumers. They're not researching and getting deep like we are. They are operating off of what they've been told. They are reacting to that and going forward.
Yeah. The basic everyday consumer is not interested in a masterclass on tariffs and manufacturing. They know already based on, before they even get on social media, on what local news and political news and what newspapers and everybody is telling them. That's where the meat and potatoes of the story is being ingested for them. This shit's going up. It's going up a lot because this dude is doing a bunch of dumb stuff, and now China's reacting to it. It's costing us a lot more for everything. Like the meat and potatoes and the nuances of it, the average person don't care.
Well, the average person is also overwhelmed right now. And this is by design. Like, let's be honest. This is, destruction, chaos, confusion is by design. And that's what's caused the market to be crazy. Because at any point in time, reciprocal tariffs. I mean, just the terminology that's being used, right? Reciprocal tariffs. 1 minute he's saying one thing, then he's like, I don't know if I like this. I'm going to switch it up. While his press secretary is standing talking about China and her dress is made in China. Like, come on. Like, really, come on. Like, if you're gonna go there, like, keep it, like, really keep it 100. But like when your product is made and you're talking about where stuff is made, how much it costs. I mean, think about it. We just gave someone, some young lady, some young man right now sitting who's watching the show. what not only we gave them terminology keystone of what that even means, and if not, go look it up, Google it. You have a smart device, yes, Google it.
Right.
But $24.98, $24.98 for a pair of sneakers at Walmart. That, guess what? Back in the day, that sneaker probably, if we walked into a mom and pop sneaker store, would have been at least $65 for that running sneaker. You could buy that sneaker in 2025 for $24.98. Come on, like you don't need a lot of money. You make the sneakers don't make you. Right. So that's why, like, when I see people post all their L's on any given release, I'm like, we know we're just doing great marketing for these companies. That's what we.
I think about you all the time. When I finally get my hands on a sneaker that I've been wanting for a few years, because we can be patient. And D would always say, everything can be had if you're patient. If you don't have to have the flavor of the moment, you can get what you want. Just hold tight.
Right. Just be patient.
D has always pushed patience, and now more than ever, a lot of shoes.
Now more exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now more than ever, a lot of shoes are going to be available. Well, so let's pivot to what we're seeing on the street, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm seeing on the street.
Yeah. What do you see?
And I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing in retail, right?
Okay.
Sneaker retail. Let me specify. Sneaker retail. Working in sneaker retail used to be a flex.
Yeah.
When we knew anybody who worked for a sneaker store of any kind, we were like, all right, that's what's up. Like, that's the job, you know? Now, when I do my retail dives, D,
what do you see?
Coach, I don't know how often y'all are doing the retail dives now, but I'm not just looking at the shoes, because the same shoes have been sitting there for months now.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at the shoes. I'm looking at the demeanor of the employees.
Or the personnel themselves. You definitely got, what they say about this generation. They kind of shiftless, kind of lazy. Like, I'm not saying that, y'all be cool, but the general consensus, you're getting that. They're not helpful. They're not knowledgeable. They're not really even trying that hard.
Yeah.
And even the consumer energy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like this is something Gen Z will never be able to understand. When we used to walk into any kind of sneaker store, mom and pop, boutique, big box, specialty, there was a certain kind of energy in each of those stores when you walked in to shop for a pair of sneakers. There was a certain kind of energy there.
Yeah.
And it's before all the stores piped in music and all of that. It was a special kind of energy where going in there, you didn't even need that. There was just this energy going on when you went to go shop for sneakers, where you didn't even pay attention to what music was on. Even if there was, like, we can't tell you what song was playing when we tried on our first pair of Huaraches and none of that. We can't tell you none of that dumb stuff. It was an energy, just like the atmosphere was set back then for when you went into any kind of sneaker store. And then it shifted to another level, D. Wells, when you were allowed to go into the back or in the basement storage.
That was
like passing through the pearly gates.
Man, if you could convince the owners or the associates or whoever to allow you into that back room to go digging to see what's sitting back there all dusty and whatnot.
And you normally had to politic for a very long time.
Exactly. Talk about networking.
Go in there. If you do buy something, do not return it. Like, you got to be a part of that business to get past them doors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen anymore because those mom and pop stores don't even exist anymore. Or let's be honest, this is one of the things that I've been seeing in retail, and I've been more so online. I'm not even in the front, not in person. Every retail store that has an online presence, they all look alike. And it's become that museum-esque look that A-Life started back in the day, and everyone copycatted them.
Yep.
And it's
talk about it.
It's old, it's cold, it's boring.
It is. It used to be top of the line because no one had done it. But now whatever, Formica wood you can get. Get yourself some mood. Get yourself some indirect mood lighting.
Yeah.
And you're good to display your shoes like you. I know I'm not sitting in somebody's living room. Like don't
Right.
front. So that the aesthetic is old now. Like it's like you said, D. They've copied it, and they tried to let that do the talking.
Yeah.
But like, one of the best experiences I've had in the last year was up in Canada at a specific running store called Courir, which is French for run. And I was in Montreal,
which is now owned by JD Sports, unfortunately.
It is. They done scooped up everybody.
Wow.
But the associates, by the time I hit the door, they had assessed my outfit, the kicks I was wearing, and already started asking questions about what do you run? What are you in town for? Because I'm not from here.
Wow.
We've got these over here. I had about a 30-minute conversation with the associate before I even picked the shoe, because we just had some shared interests.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun for me to be able to kind of old school politics with somebody. It was nice.
What you got.
Nice.
Yeah. Now I'm going to piggyback off of that.
I had a t-shirt and a bag. It was on.
I'm going to piggyback off of that Courir story, because when I was in Paris in 2023, I bought 2 pairs of shoes. I was there the day the Jordan Jason Tatum ones came out, the Welcome to the Zoo ones with all the different animal print material. And I only got those because my Air Max ones that I was wearing while I was walking to the Pompidou Center exploded. Guess I'm going to have to really tell that story one day for everybody. They're sitting in the case in here in the academy all blown.
I remember when you sent me those photos and you're like, look what happened. And I was like,
I should have known better than to try and wear a pair of 2009 retros walking through halfway through Paris.
You were trucking Paris in some 09?
Out of the country. Exactly.
So luckily, there was a Nike store right there a block away from the Pompidou Center in a Westfield-owned mall.
Yep.
And there was the day the Tatums came out, so I was able to get those, right? But, okay, so same trip. I bought those because of that emergency, but then I also went to Courir, and I bought a pair of Courir exclusive colorway NB550s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't seen this color combo or anything anywhere.
Yeah.
What color
and
are
they were like a taupe brown, gray, and white.
Yep.
Really nice, like mix, like
nice,
earthy yet standard at the same time.
Yeah, because they were doing those kind of I don't know that they called it a name, but they had like a cement stone pack, and then they had an earth pack. So they had those colors, and then they had dark grays.
Okay.
Right. So I bought those while I was in Paris. And then shortly after that, like I got home a few months later, I saw that JD Sports had bought them. So I was like, I hope that means they're still going to be getting their own exclusives, or they're going to be forced to rock JD exclusives in there. Hopefully they can still get their own. That's why I said
the JD purchase siloed a lot of places. They killed Finish Line. Finish Line is going. But I'm hoping they leave some of the other brands to do their thing.
Yeah. But JD Sports Canada, from what I hear from people who've done business with them, they're really being, as a separate entity from JD Sports in Europe, they're really trying to be what you experienced.
It was good, man. I'm telling you. Let me see if I got the ones I bought. Yeah, my Metaspeed Edge Paris. Got these while I was up there. It was a beautiful experience, man. That's an amazing shoe. Paris colorway just before I was actually headed over myself. It was nice, man. And it was just, like I said, it was so much fun being in the shop and talking to someone who was enthusiastic about what they're doing. They were knowledgeable about it. And in a good way, they had already sized me up and was like, he guessed my size. It's like from what it looks like. And it's like that experience was so good. That type of thing bred some brand loyalty,
Dope.
Dr. Riddles, what sneaker do you have in your lap? I've been seeing you peek at this green light one. That one.
So I've been rocking lately. So this goes to what I've been seeing. Glad you asked. what I've been seeing is a complete disregard for big brand loyalty. You know, the big 3 or 4. I see a lot of Amazon shoes on the street who people are buying them because of the innovative looks, the crazy stuff coming out of some of these Chinese factories and sold on the low, and then you get them for Amazon or they've been advertised on your Instagram stories.
Yeah.
And so I got caught by that. 361 Degrees is a brand out of China, but they are a factory-born brand pushed forward.
Yeah.
Kind of like Li Ning was about maybe 15 years ago, where like nobody knew about them. You knew that they were in there and they were born inside this factory ecosystem of we have the materials, we're getting killed on the trade war because Nike's selling these shoes for $300. Resellers are selling them for more, and we just made this $15 to $20 shoe. How about we just get our slice of the pie? So 361 came out with a shoe that was an innovative shoe, carbon fiber plate, all the modern foams and trappings, you know, micro mesh. You can see right through, extra breathability. It's a beautiful shoe. I got this thing for $110 shipped directly to me. So I'm thinking, all right, you know, I got God. Let me test this out. No, this is the Flame 3. They done came out with a Flame 4. Like they doing a whole series. Up the ante. They got specialty materials now on some of their carbon fiber plates. They got an innovative plate system that they're testing out that I've never seen on anything else. Again, micro mesh, the same serrated laces that you see from a major brand. They're not skimping on anything. They're not skimping. So that's what I'm seeing a lot of is consumers are now taking a chance, like true consumers in a particular category, like especially in running. Runners will give a new brand a try because they're looking for innovation. They're not looking for brand loyalty.
Right.
And so when Nike took their fall off by making some subpar supposedly high-end shoes, consumers were like, all right, On came in because and Steven talked about this with us. These smaller brands punch Nike in the mouth. You know, you got the Swedish brands over here with Craft making a superb shoe. You got some
brand is that? Say that again.
Craft. So the Craft brand is out of Sweden.
Yep.
Carbon fiber, got their own specialty foam. They're doing great things. And again, most people wouldn't even know about Craft.
Exactly.
It's another small brand, just like your Li Ning used to be. And so, yeah, I've got a few of those around here where, you know, you get caught by some of them. It's like, okay, that was whack. You shouldn't have tried that. But as you're searching around, you end up finding that these materials are legit. The production is legit because it's coming from the same factory. So those hands that made your special Nikes are making these.
Yeah.
And for the cost, then we've talked tariff, we've talked all of that. But for years on this show, we have been talking about the cost of a brand name.
Yeah.
You're paying that extra 20% because it says Nike or Adidas, not because
extra 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. These were I got these 105 plus shipping. They were shipped to me at 105. I got these. They upped the ante a little bit. I paid 120 for these.
Okay.
So, and this is every bit a $250 shoe with all the same materials.
Wow.
Now here's what I'm going to tell you about 361, Coach. So I am one of the senior judges for every year the Global Footwear Awards. And there's a category where established brands are allowed to submit for their category. 361 puts in some of their cutting edge running shoes in that competition. So this has been I've been a judge on this competition for the last 2.5 years. This year will be year 3.
Yeah.
And 361 drops a bomb in every year to submit.
Which makes perfect sense because, like I said, this is the Flame 3, this is the Flame 4, so that lines up with the timeline you just said.
I have to look to see if either one of those shoes, Flame 3 or 4, was submitted.
Yeah,
Because the Flame 3 looks really familiar.
Yeah, it's their top of the line. Let me grab you because I did get 2 pair.
This guy.
That's the original colorway.
Ooh.
And then that
with a gum bottom? That has a gum bottom?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you held out. You know how I like gum bottoms.
Oh,
you held out.
And then this pair was a special edition called the Duckio, because apparently these little ducks over in China got something going on.
Yeah.
So that little cartoon hit over there. One of the NBA players is one of the European guys. Jokic wears 361.
Yeah, he has.
He's got a SpongeBob. He's got a SpongeBob collaboration.
Yeah, Jokic, and before him, years ago, I don't know if he still has the deal, but Kevin Love.
Yes.
Kevin Love had a deal with 361.
Right. That's who I was thinking of.
Yep. So they making some moves, not so quietly anymore.
Yeah.
Now that everybody's phone been listening, watch y'all get some ads for 61 on Instagram.
Exactly.
I know, right? Yeah. I should have shut that mic off.
I know, right?
No, but this is the state of retail and an exploration that I think tariffs are going to accelerate for consumers. And I just wanted to make the point before you jump back on, D, like walking in physical sneaker retail is such a very solemn experience now.
Oh, I bet.
The workers don't look interested. The displays and the displays and just the way they route you around the stores is off. It's very off-putting. And you know, it's actually, to a degree, it sort of gaslights you, right?
I was just about to say sensory deprivation.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's actually what it's like now.
Yeah.
Like they've totally removed that feeling you're supposed to have when you walk in to a sneaker store, because you're being forced to move in a direction directly towards what the top sellers are, not what was going to catch your eye and get you to explore and try on.
If you've ever been in a JD Sports, they have blocked the top visual across the store. You are now in a sneaker jungle, and you're being pushed through the store.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All of them.
Sure.
All of them. Yep.
For sure.
So that's what I wanted to leave that point with. That's what I wanted to leave that point with before D came on. That's what you put it beautifully, Coach.
Yeah.
Because I remember being in France, just like you mentioned, going in that Nike store that you went to near Pompidou is next to an Extra Butter.
Yes.
So I went to the Extra Butter. The Extra Butter was beautiful, you know, small boutique store. You can see around the store. Eyeline is good. When I went to the JD Sports over there, it's dark and you're moving through these dark panels and you can't see anything at eye level but the panels of shoes, and you're being moved through the store like a jungle. It's crazy.
Now wait, is it an Extra Butter or is it what is the name of that? The store. I know the store you're talking about. I'm not sure.
I know there's a size. There's a size there too.
It's size. It's size.
That size right there.
It's size.
Okay,
it's size.
right across from the Nike store.
Yes, it's size, not Extra Butter. It's size.
Size. You're right.
And I remember because also that came out not too long before that was the Big Bubble Air Max 1.
Yes, and then they also had the Lunar Foam, the pink Lunars were there. Yep.
Yeah.
And then further down that walkway was Pompidou. You're right. It's size.
Yeah. It's size, right? So and it's the same thing, right? Yeah. Just you being like, this is what we want you to buy, not what you came to explore.
What you came for.
Hurry up and buy and get out.
Yep.
Man.
You know, so that's a point I wanted to leave with before you jumped in is and Coach put it. That's why RDQLUS is who he is. He's the brand marketing storytelling expert. Sneaker retail is sensory deprivation right now. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, for me though, my big thing lately is what people are wearing, right? So
Mhm.
in Houston, which I mean, people visit from all over right now. I'm seeing certainly a lot of HOKA on. I actually saw a number of booths. I was surprised, particularly around the Galleria area, which is, big with tourists, big with, shopping, coming into H-Town for the weekend and stuff like that. And then the new thing is this whole new kind of wave of Crocs, this Echo, the Echo clogs that are just, yeah, we know they're on TikTok. I know they're on Instagram as well, but they have a hit because it's more leaning towards of a lifestyle
Yes.
shoe.
Yep.
And again, I was yesterday in Walmart going through the self-checkout line. That's a whole nother conversation. We got to talk about what's happening now with self-checkout versus, remember when we used to go?
No. Come center stage. Come center stage. Come center stage. Come on, D. What's happening at Walmart checkout?
Walmart checkout used to have like what? I don't know. Let's call it at least 10 cashiers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the checkout, the self-checkout used to be really, really small.
Yeah.
Now, self-checkout was probably 5 or 6 wide.
Yeah.
And we're talking just lanes upon lanes upon lanes. And there were 2. I specifically looked at it. I was like, yo, there's only 2 lanes open. And one of the guys in front of me, he's checking out. He's buying cat food. He's buying some other stuff. I look down on his feet, and what is he wearing? And this is an older gentleman, probably in his mid-60s. He's wearing a pair of Crocs, but not just regular old school Crocs. He's wearing the Echo Clog.
Shut up.
2 associates, and this even surprised me too, were wearing the Echo Wave, which is their version of, well, let's be honest, Nike just knocked them off of Rejuvenate.
With the Rejuvenate slide,
The associates, the Walmart associates who are kind of watching, right? They're probably watching us, make sure we don't steal anything, but that's, whatever, not here. But they were wearing Echo Wave Crocs. As I'm making the way through this, again, this is all through Walmart. Adidas, Panda Dunks.
Pandas ain't going nowhere. My God.
Those are the ones that really stood out. And I kind of chuckled because the young lady that was wearing the Panda Dunks, they looked new. They didn't look like they were worn and beat up. Because now you can buy those Panda Dunks for like dirt cheap everywhere. Like people are stuck with them. Like everywhere. They keep releasing
bad investment.
Millions of pairs, resellers.
Exactly. Getting stuck with them. And now everyone's selling them on TikTok, on Instagram, or pretty soon Facebook Marketplace even. So go figure.
Now you're gonna laugh, right? Speaking of the Pandas, before we get back on your point, right? I have a pair of Pandas here that I got in late 2022.
Yep.
Brand new, dead stock in the box. I'm like, I'm going to break these out when the wave is over.
When is it?
Now, mind you, I said late 2022.
It ain't going to be over.
It's still sitting in the box, aren't
they? Brand new dead stock still sitting in the box.
Crazy.
They here to stay. That wave ain't never going to crest.
Yeah,
they here to stay. They are the new
November or December 2022, I bought that pair.
You bought them.
That's wild.
Sitting there going, you know what we used to do? Watch me break these out after everybody that ran through theirs.
Ran through their pairs. Exactly. Yeah.
Man, the entire planet is still running through.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's about to be
3 years later. About to be 4 years out. But this pair I'm talking about, two and a half years I'm sitting on these.
Yo, they've already been clowned and started reselling again.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
But to Dee's point, Dee's point is a bridge to the other point of what's happening right now, which why Nike and Puma and Adidas to some extent struggle.
Mm-hmm.
These kids are out here wearing Asics and New Balance with Nike socks. And then if you show up with a pair of New Balance, they're like, yo, you still wearing New Balance, son? We on Asics now.
And they so quick. There's no longevity to the trend. Even the trends are shifting as you finally cop a pair. That's where the patience went out the window. Because as soon as you cop that pair, they old news. Why you wearing those? I just got
those. Yeah.
Yo,
but this wave,
now.
Don't get me started with Adidas pants and Jordan 1s and all that mix.
But this wave though that we're seeing of the the millennials and the this newer
come to the front when you're talking about the millennials. Come to the front when you're talking about the millennials. They need to see you.
This new generation, talk about trends and being heavily influenced. I mean, we know, like, we all we grew up in that time where we wanted to be unique, we wanted to be different. If all three of us went to a party and we were wearing the same stuff, somebody had to change.
That would never happen.
That would never happen. We'd be like, yo, are you wearing your what?
Okay. Yeah. We would know beforehand.
Somebody would switch it up.
Absolutely. This
new wave of Asics, Saucony, New Balance.
Mm-hmm. That's the three.
Onitsuka as well, because even though it's Asics, I keep seeing Onitsuka pop up every once in a while, like again on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook.
Right.
But like it's crazy how all of a sudden people used to just call it the dad shoe movement and stuff like that. And again, we've talked about it so many years ago.
Right.
That wave, how things are cyclical, and people are choosing comfort. And good looks, right? Yeah. But they're choosing comfort over the uniform kicks. And then we even have, like, obviously we know what Ronnie and Kith have done. We see the other collabs, by Saucony, J Tips. Shout out to J Tips. What he's been able to do when everyone basically told him no. Shout out April Walker. I mean, dropping her collection and capsule with Reebok. I mean, that sneaker, the only thing I have with that sneaker, though, I'm not going to lie. And I was so tempted to contact April about this. It's like, yo, why didn't you get them to drop it at $54.11?
Oh, impossible.
Talk about
retail price is $100 on the Reebok website. I get it. Those days of $54.11, but just from a nostalgic, like being able to say
the launch pair should have been $54.11.
$54.11. That's how everyone who saw that freestyle sneaker back in the day or had it.
The name of it.
It didn't. No one knew it as the freestyle. Like,
right.
I mean, how many people you're like, yo, what sneaker is that? It's a $54.11.
Yeah.
But okay.
I had a pair in. Matter of fact, that shoe. This was sort of like foreshadowed for April, because let's remember our exhibition at Port Authority from the Feet Up Sneakers Hip Hop in New York City. April contributed a shoe to the exhibition, and what shoe did she give us? She gave us a white 5411 for the exhibition. And just for the record, in case people need numbers, 88 days of residency, 9.8 million in foot traffic and exposure. Just to drop the numbers just a little bit.
Cole, D, and Denise, and just everyone that was involved.
Denise,
Gary,
Keo. Shout out to the King Keo, Graph Legend.
Yeah,
like all the folks involved, Myron, Rudy, so many folks bought into that, us being able to tell that story accurately. And again, to that point, to strengthen your point, D, on that with the 5411, like that shoe. And shout out to April for finally getting the apparel and footwear collab on that. For someone acknowledging her, because she's knocked on a few doors to get collaborations for footwear with folks, and they fronted. Reebok didn't front. They came through.
I mean, I'm gonna give an extra 100 because everybody, we tell the truth. Mm-hmm. That 5411 out here in the Midwest was still hot too. I had the Pro Wings version. I ain't even gonna lie.
You're gonna have to dig up a version of those.
Like most everybody want to say that they jumped in on Jordans or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, most of us sneakerheads was getting the knockoff versions.
Yeah.
I had a Pro Wing Vandal, gray and blue. colors. And swapped out the sign that looked like a Nike symbol. I went ahead and completed it, so I had some Vandals. I had the 5411s in the Pro Wing version. Keep it 100.
Oh shoot, that's crazy. Now you know it's funny. Shout out to Terrence Floyd. He always talks about his entry point in the sneakers, and you know what sneaker he says was his entry point?
What's that?
Kangaroos.
Kangaroos.
For real. Rules was it for a lot of people. Rules was it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Get that little stash pocket zipper. Come on now.
Yep. Kangaroos,
And
bro.
that's, I think if more people, this ties into what we've been talking about. Those that niche market where like there's still shoes.
Yeah.
And you know, your Onitsukas, there were so many Pro Wing. And for those who out there in sneaker land, go act like y'all don't know what Pro Wings was. Y'all damn lie. The Pro Wings, I remember Payless had a knockoff version of the ponies that they called the Eagles. Eagles was nice, boy.
Yo.
Eagles was nice. Yo. And it got to a point where we're talking economic downturn where people did start rocking more unique things because you just weren't going to get the pricey stuff. Parents were not going to go for that. So you got the next best thing. If they function, you could ball in them. They look kind of like them. Pretty soon that niche market became a mainstream brand, or at least a well-liked underground brand. That's why, because Kangaroos started at a place called Stride Right here in town, where you had to buy.
They did here too. And they started at Buster Brown and Stride Right. That's the only place you can get Kangaroos in New York.
And those were not the bastions of high fashion.
No, not at all.
Well, listen, once people hit the street with them, listen, here's my Kangaroo story.
Exactly.
We had a dude that I would never forget, 5th grade, PS 181, East Flatbush, Brooklyn. Outside for recess, where they put you out, the entire school damn near seemed like out in the schoolyard for recess.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we were out, and I had a classmate. His name was Gavison. He was the tallest kid in the class. He was probably my height now when we were in 5th grade.
Wow.
Afro, always stylish, little tea gray shirts, all that. And he was the cousin of one of my boys who I used to do dirt with in the street. But the schoolyards were always open for anyone to come through. Like kids today would never realize what kind of danger was always around us. Like while we're playing in the schoolyard, any derelict could come in from off the street and do anything.
Whatever.
Yeah. After
so on this particular day,
for a reason.
So on this particular day, it actually happened where 2 dudes came in, saw the Kangaroos on his feet, turned him upside down. I mean, both of them lifted him and shook him and took the Kangaroos off his feet and walked out the schoolyard with the shoes tucked under their arm. One of the dudes tucked, and we were like, "Yo,
that just happened."
Like I remember, like him crying. The teachers grabbing him and taking him inside and then calling his parents, for a pair of Kangaroos.
All that did was push their street cred
5th
way
grade.
up.
Exactly.
Damn.
They robbed the 5th grader, literally.
5th grade.
Robbed the 5th grader.
That's wild, man. I'm telling you.
I'll never forget that visual of the dude just taking him and putting him under his arm and walking out like jail dudes will walk with a package of cigarettes or something. Shook him out the shoes.
Took his rules off his feet.
But okay, so that makes me think of key stores that were big back in the day. So we talked about Buster Brown's, Stride Right.
Yep.
We have Tom McCann.
VIM here in New York used to be something.
VIM, yeah, for sure.
Right? Dr. J's.
For sure. Dr. J's, yep.
Kenny.
Dr. J's.
Kenny Shoes.
Kenny Shoes. Kenny Shoes. Hey.
Yo, you calling out some names. You gotta get to the center, bro.
Bada shoe store.
Get to the center, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all the stores that
Bada.
we had
Oh man,
throughout the Caribbean, that when I would finally travel stateside and we get to see, I was like, okay, so yeah, Tom McCann, Kenny Shoes, Bada shoe stores, And then you'd go to like say St. Martin or St. Kitts, you'd see the Foot Lockers, the athlete foot.
See, here it was the Sears and the J.C. Penney's. Yeah, them catalog stores, because they had a shoe department at the time when you didn't have a standalone Finish Line, Foot Locker. Right. You would go to J.C. Penney.
Man,
yep. And man, I'm telling you, Crossroads Mall right here in Omaha, Stride Right, Kenny Shoes, Youngstown, and then J.C. Penney. Wow. All of them right there on the wall, bro.
Wow.
I can see them as clear as day, 1982. Clear as day.
Wow. Man.
Talk about how much retail has changed.
Yeah.
Retail has changed so much. We had a Sears. We didn't even have a Sears in the Virgin Islands, but we had a Sears counter that we would go to.
Yep.
And you'd have to look through the catalog.
And then mail order.
Order form. And then like pay your money. Either you paid all of it, or a lot of people put stuff on like layaway.
On layaway.
And they would mail it off. And when it would come, they would call you and say, "Oh,
they're here.
Your package is here." And you go into the countertop and pay the rest of the money if you owe money.
All things old are new again. That was Amazon 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Is a catalog.
Even further back. Even further back in the
60s, you could buy whole kitchens.
I dug into the history of Sears and the catalog, and believe it or not, you could literally buy a house through Sears catalogs back in the days. I believe it's the 40s and the 50s. An actual house.
An actual house?
Actual house. The Sears catalog, you used to be able to buy an actual house with the fabricated parts and everything, and they would ship it to be built. Actual houses. There are towns in the Midwest still. Yeah. There are towns in the Midwest still that have houses still standing that were ordered from a Sears catalog.
No lie. So even the Amazons and all of these, online orderings, all they did was take the catalog digital, because Sears, you could get everything. Auto parts, whole rooms. Yeah, you could order everything out the catalog. Yep.
You get that Christmas, they get that Sears catalog in time for Christmas.
Bro, I used to look through that thing. Like, talk about Eastbay. We talk about Eastbay all the time.
That's what you do. That's where I was going.
Man, I used to look through J.C. Penney's and Sears. I ain't even gonna tell you, bro. We all done experienced it. Had to slip past the lingerie section and not get in trouble.
That is 110% true.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question I have. How many copies of Eastbay catalogs do you still have?
I think
that's a none for me. I don't have any.
I think I still have like 3 or 4.
3 or 4.
Because I had circled, and this was when I was a junior in high school. I knew I was going on to college to run track. And at the time, Adidas had come out with their MD spike. Now, I was a triple jumper, and they didn't make triple jump spikes, but their distance and MD middle distance spikes had padding. So I had circled a lot of the MD spikes and the distance spikes so I can get padding. The first pair that I ever bought was the Adidas Adistar LD, all white leather with the thick heel pad, and then came on the scene. And the colors shifted to that powder blue, the ones that's on the ZX line.
Yep.
They made a bunch of spikes with the purple and the pink and the blue. And I remember circling them like, yo, college. I can't wait to get to college. And my mom still has that Eastbay. I got like 3 of those Eastbays where I had the running shoe circle.
Wow. Man, oh man.
Yeah, I wish we would have had the opportunity to make that Eastbay documentary.
Oh man. Yeah. But you know what? Like, there's so many stories we can all tell. I mean, we know enough people amongst the 3 of us and then some to be able to talk about what it was like when that Eastbay catalog would land and you would flip through it like it was the unofficial, sneaker Bible at the time, and take it to school and pour over it with
Bro,
your.
it was with me in my book bag.
Oh,
When
yeah.
it would come in the mail, I would toss my mom the mail in the house, and I would sit on the porch. Bro, it was literally like porn. I would sit on the porch and just everything I wanted was in here. I'm marking it, I'm starring it, I'm circling it on the porch like I'm some 60-year-old man with his newspaper, reading my Eastbay, dreaming about the kicks I would have. Like if that kid could see me now, he would think he would think something wrong with me.
Well, maybe that documentary could still be made. We never know.
It would be well worth it. It would be well worth it.
Yeah,
we might have to go gorilla on it.
I was just OSD style. OSD style.
And Eastbay used to give us Midwesterners some pride because they was out of Wisconsin. And I remember being up there for track meets and seeing the factory. And I'm like, people don't even realize these shoes coming from the flyover states.
Very true.
Very true. So, man, social media has it so that these days it can't be a 2-hour show like we used to do.
True.
Because that's not friendly to the algorithm. Yeah, that's not friendly to the algorithm. 2 hours is a movie now. We just made an OSD movie if we go 2 hours now.
No doubt.
But let's all plant a jewel for everybody to wrap up this episode. And as D-Well so eloquently and so skillfully always coordinates, give people some gems for the shorts and all of that.
No doubt.
I'm gonna drop one. And it's just based on my usual, and I say this often when I do my public speaking and my teaching. Kids today pay more to look the same than we ever paid to look different. That's the one I'm gonna leave with.
Period.
How about you, Coach?
What I'll say is, and we've talked about it for a long time over the history of OSD. If it is a $1 billion industry, why are you only wearing the same 3 brands? Break out, find something new. The quality is there, and you might just look unique out on the streets.
Oh, that daring word, originality.
Originality.
That other daring word, individuality. There you go, daring people. Come on, D. Wells. What you got, SB number 1?
Man, what's for you is for you. Patience is really important. And then the other thing is just you always remember that listen and silent are spelled using the same letters.
He always get me with those. D. Wells is always good for that wisdom.
So, and go buy some 99 products.
or go to Walmart.
Or go to Walmart. Exactly. Get that Instagram brand on your foot.
Exactly.
Yes.
Gotta love it. There you go.
We want to thank everybody, man. We are back. We're happy to be back. And again, head over to the YouTube page. It is youtube.com/OSDLive. We got episodes there. This one, by the time you see this, will be one of the many in the collection of episodes since our return. A lot of great guests, a lot of good stories being told, a lot of important information being shared. And we're going to continue to do that. We got a few more episodes in this particular season. That's right. We're doing them in seasons now. So in this collection that we will call the season, the return season, we got a few more episodes left with some great guests and some more of us, in the sneaker living room banter. So like, subscribe, share, comment, share your stories. You know where we're at on social media. You know where we're at on the YouTube platform. Reach out to any or all of us and watch for the weirdos. They wear sneakers too.
Watch out.